Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Boxiest, and today we are going to continue the What If series. What if events had gone differently? And in this What If, we're going to change the history of Cobra Kai. What if Mike Barnes won during the events of 1985, 30 years later? This is a continuation to What If Mike Barnes won during the events of Karate Kid 3. That is an older What If you guys want to go watch it before continuing this one. So in this timeline, Mike Barnes would have defeated Daniel during the 1985 All Valley, so he would own 50% of Cobra Kai, and by the time the events of Cobra Kai would happen, Cobra Kai would be one of the biggest dojos in the world. They would have winners from previous All Valleys and even Saikai Taikais. Mike Barnes would run Cobra Kai alongside some of the best senseis in the world. Mike Barnes would continue to train his students in a similar way he was trained. Kyler and his friends would be in Cobra Kai. Miguel would still move to the valley, and he would still be picked on by Kyler and his friends, and they would assault Miguel and show him no mercy. This is when Johnny would step in, and he would want to defend Miguel from the Cobra Kais. So Johnny would fight Kyler and his friends, but since they had Cobra Kai training, they would get some hits on Johnny, and the Cobra Kais would leave. Miguel would thank Johnny for trying to defend him, but Johnny would say that it was Cobra Kai and that they'll never stop bothering him. Miguel would still ask Johnny to teach him some karate. Johnny would see how much Miguel needed him, so he would agree to teach Miguel, and Johnny would tell Miguel that Cobra Kai uses the latest technology to help them train, but with his karate, they were going to go old school, so Johnny would form Eagle Fang, and at school, Miguel would still meet Eli and Dimitri, and in this timeline, Eli and Dimitri would already know karate. They would have tried joining Cobra Kai many years ago, but they eventually would have quit, so Eli and Dimitri would join Miyagi-Do, and Eli and Dimitri would invite Miguel to join them. So after school, Miguel would go to Miyagi-Do, and he would see Daniel training his students. Daniel would train his students with defense in mind to defend themselves against Cobra Kai. Even after 30 years, Daniel wouldn't give up. Miguel would tell Johnny about Miyagi-Do, and Johnny would tell him the events of the Karate Kid, that he used to know Daniel, and how events ended in 1984, and Johnny would tell him that Mike Barnes beat Daniel in 1985, and that allowed Cobra Kai to expand and grow. Johnny would say that Daniel spent the next 30 years obsessing with taking down Cobra Kai. Johnny would tell Miguel that Cobra Kai has affected everyone. He would say that he tried moving on, but when his son Robbie was born, he wasn't a good father, and he wasn't there for him. So when Robbie grew older, Robbie wanted nothing to do with him, so Robbie joined Cobra Kai to get back at him. Miguel would want to convince Johnny to join Daniel. He would say if they combined their styles, that would be enough to take down Cobra Kai. Johnny would be hesitant. He hadn't spoken to Daniel in over 30 years. So Johnny would go see Daniel, and Daniel would be surprised to see Johnny after all these years. But Daniel would be angry at Johnny. He would think Johnny was one of Cobra Kai's senseis, but Johnny would say that he had nothing to do with Cobra Kai ever since 1984. Johnny would tell Daniel that he also wants to take down Cobra Kai. Johnny would say that he doesn't like the effect Barnes and the rest of the senseis were having on the kids in the valley. Daniel would be in agreement, so Daniel and Johnny would decide to combine their styles. Johnny would teach the Miyagi-Do students how to fight offensively, while Daniel taught defense. Mike Barnes would eventually hear that Daniel teamed up with Cobra Kai's former champion before him, so Mike Barnes would go confront Daniel and Johnny. He would be surprised that Miyagi-Do was still going after all these years. He would also be surprised to see Johnny there. Mike Barnes would offer to buy Miyagi-Do from Daniel. Daniel would challenge Mike Barnes to a rematch, Cobra Kai's top student versus their top student. If Cobra Kai won, he would sell Miyagi-Do to Mike Barnes, and he would finally back down. But if they won, Miyagi-Do would get to stay open, but Cobra Kai would have to leave them alone. Mike Barnes would agree, so both Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do would train for the rematch, and that is where I'm gonna end part 1. Thank you guys for watching. What do you guys think would have happened if Mike Barnes beat Daniel during the events of 1985, 30 years later? Let me know in the comments below. Also let me know if you guys like this new series, where I take what ifs that ended in the 80s and expand on them 30 years later. All members have access to emojis that can be used in comments and live streams. This isn't mandatory. This is only something extra if you want to support the channel even more. YouTube lets me know that the majority of you are not subscribed, so if you guys could subscribe, that would be much appreciated. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on post notifications, and I'll see you guys next time.